Right, today is Saturday, and already things aren't going to plan. I think I need to elevate you. Just one moment. You see, the editing skills are already phenomenal. Look, if this ever got slick, we'd all be worried. Right, today has not gone to plan so far. The idea is to do a bit more on Pinky today, get it stripped down a bit more. And the idea was get it up on the bike lift because it's easier to do. But you can probably hear it's pissing down, which is a British expression for heavy rain. So ideally I need to get Nibbler out, have a bit of a move about, get the bike lift down, get the bike on the lift and get Nibbler back in. But while it's raining heavily and all that lot, I'm not going to. So all I'm going to do today is just gradually strip down a little bit more. So like get the thermostat out, stuff like that. Just do a bit. So while I'm doing that, I will rotate you so you can see the motorcycle. There we go. I've got no idea what you can see, you know, absolutely none. This is where my absolute professionalism shines. And in theory, you should be able to see a motorcycle now. If you can't, tough shit. So thermostat and everything's all just behind the headstock on the bike. So we'll there we go. We'll crack on. I've already loosened a lot of it. So in theory, all I've got to do is pull it through. Now you aren't aiming at the correct part. What can I do? Let's see if I can move you so we can get a better view. No, that's going to be terrible. That's probably far worse. Anyway, we'll go with that. So, cables can come through. That's those two. What's that? Oh yeah, sparkage wire. Should be able to bring that up. That's loose. May have to take some pipes off. Yes, we may have to. We may have to fucking fly everything as usual. I am a disorganised mess, which is how I like it, really. Mrs. Shed's the organised one. Come on, you bagger. Oh, I could still do going undone a little bit more. So I've got a whole weekend to myself. Because I'm not going down Mrs. Shed's and she's not coming up here, so I've got a whole weekend to myself, so I thought, what can I do? So I thought, I can crack on with Pinky, film a little bit for you fine people. There we go. Ooh, there's a bit of corrosion there. Get this hose out of the way. Yes, you can see that. Look, they're usable, certainly usable, but they have seen definite better days. Oh, that might be able to come through now. Yeah. A bit of a tug, a bit of a tingle. You know, if in doubt, give it a tug. That applies to a lot of things in life. Let's get that sender wire off. One thermostat housing. She did have a new thermostat, but as you can see, this could all be cleaned up. Get a little wire wheel on it. Nice. Go over there with other pipey things. This pipe can go over there with other pipey things. Right. I've already marked the bolts off, taken out. I've had no breakfast yet. It's criminal, really. So that's why I'm perfect. What's all this? Right, there's a splash guard here that goes around the plug leads. What have we got there? Which one's this? Right, that's Speedo. That's a vent tube down to the expansion tank. What have we got? There we go. Now is that split? Yes, it is split to allow the plug boots through. So, number one. If there's one bad thing about working on Jack 4s, especially small capacity Jack 4s, it's that everything is basically miniaturised. So it's like working on a big bike, but with a lot less room. That's in well. I did do the spark plugs last time. Spark plugs, oil change, all that lot. I can't remember having to fight it like this. At least I think I did the spark plugs. Maybe not, doesn't really matter. Camel. That's it. So, if I'm guessing right, I'm guessing plugs, either plugs, depending on the firing order of the engine and how it's laid out, either 1 and 3 are going to be the same coil pack, or 1 and 4. So we'll soon find out. There's one. Which one is that? This is 2. And that was okay. 2 and 3 are the same. Yep, and then 1 and 4. The splash guard seemed better, don't it? Right, all that come out now. So it's not too bad when it goes back together, because usually you're a bit more methodical putting things back together than you are taking them apart usually, or at least I am. That's that one. That's that one. That's better. Get a good look at the top of the engine now. Let's bring you in, look. So these have had rags down, which I removed prior to filming. But what we're probably going to do is start stripping all this down now, just making it a bit neater. Just seeing where all these go. This is just part of the crankcase breathing system, so these goes into the airbox. And just start removing the loom, etc. Yes. Lovely. Right, so that will come off next. We've got me a pair of pliers somewhere. I should probably move to all times. Oh, these are it. Dipping down, pipe spanners. That's if they'll go in. I'm back from fetching pliers. It's a bit of a mixture of a nothingness, this video. There's no structure to it, as usual. It just is what it is. That's a speedo cable. Get that out of the way. Right, so the coils and everything are down there. Right, okay. Nice. It's not quite ready to come through yet. Right. Now, to get the expansion tank out, you have to take the rear shock off, because everything's packaged rather well on this, as you can probably see. Yeah. Right. Now, I have to remember, if I take it off the stand, that the rear shock's not bolted on. Now, the rear end is going to come out anyway, but for now, I'll probably leave the, until I actually do take the rear end out. Easy shock change now. Right, top bolt. There's expansion tank out of the way. This was before all, well, I won't say it was before all Honda ProLink and all that lot, because ProLink came quite early, but this is just a direct pivot from the frame to the swing arm. There's no linkage at all. Which means, if you want to lower the bike or lift the bike up, really, unless you want to muck about with engine mounts, then you just get a longer or shorter shock. But you have to bear in mind that a few millimetres on the shock is a lot more at the end of the swing arm. Nice, right. Is he loose? Is he loose as a goose? Right, we'll get him out of the way. Pretty sure I've got all the bolts out of this, but that's my version of pretty sure. bet some coolant's going to piss out now. Yes. Because there is no way of draining this expansion tank without a siphon, basically. There you go. So yes, I have got a little bit of coolant all over the place, which I knew would happen. Yeah, good thing about these expansion tanks, if they're filthy, you can actually wash them or put a solution of Milton fluid in there or something similar. Dettol, Milton fluid. Milton fluid kills bacteria, it kills mould and algae. If you've ever got any green mould on your car, like on the rubbers, a solution of Milton fluid will kill it. Works for convertible tops as well. Because you will never ever get rid of it, you have to kill the mould. Sorted, one expansion tank out of the way. Lovely. And then right back here, if I show you, come on, you little bagger, is this is the coil packs back here. Tucks them around. I mean, normally on a jack bike they're up here, sort of near the head, but on this one they decided to put it down here. And then usually you've got a fuel pump in the way here. You've got your starter there. That's one of the hoses to the water pump. A lot of you are probably going mad about the untidiness of this so far, but look, it's all got to come apart. So, you know, methodically, doesn't matter how it's done, as long as it's done. Let's just figure out. Oh yeah, I've got a couple of bolts there, and the coil packs will come out. That's cool, baby. Right, let's put you back in the stand. Yes, lovely. Oh. That'll be 10mm, I can guarantee it. A 10mm. I might start it off with a 10mm spanner. Yes. Right. Lovely. So what are you lot doing this weekend then? Comment below. And notice I've got the Shoestring Shed hoodie on. Available in the merch store at Teespring. And of course, I mention it every time, we've also got Patreon and all that lot. If you want to chuck us a cup of coffee on Patreon, much obliged. Or at least enough for a pack of crumpets. Cup of tea. It's been a good day. This is my first week back at work. I actually started back on Wednesday. And I've been driving a very, very nice convertible luxury car, because that's how you pronounce it, luxury. So yeah, a nice little introduction back to work, which I do enjoy anyway, even though I am a semi-retired multi-millionaire, of course. I'd like to know where the money is. I did have an idea the other day actually that if I won the lottery or anything like that, I'd have this shed moved into a purpose-built hangar with a green screen there, so it still shows the same, so you all still thought I was a penniless pauper in a shed. It sounded good at the time. Oh. I've got one of those never-ending bolts for the coil packs. Everything is really, really well packaged on this, which is brilliant in a packaging point of view, but a pain in the arse when you need to do anything, because quite often you need to remove 3 or 4 things to get to the thing that you need to look at. But if it's anything the Japanese are really good at, it's miniaturising stuff. And if this was a 750 or 600 or something like that, it'd be like another quarter scale bigger, and therefore easier to get to stuff, but it ain't. So this is what we've got to work with, which ain't a problem. Right, put these bolts to the side before I put them in a bag and label them. Yes. You did hear that correctly. Nearly all the bolts I've took off this have been labelled, have been bagged, it just makes the rebuild process, when that comes later in the year, a lot better. Because if you have any time off, I mean, a lot of you will know this, if you have any time off from a project, even if it's like a week, you can soon forget where you are with it, or where you got with it. And this way, if everything's all bagged up, at least if you're methodical putting it all back, it should go a bit smoother. It certainly beats having everything chucked around the floor and then guessing. Just undoing some hoses. I could sing to you if you want it. Some of this I'll probably fast forward. Thank God you're thinking. Right, we did have, here we go, such hose pliers. Cute. These are brilliant if they fit what you're trying to do. If they don't, you've got to give it the old wiggle jiggle. See, a lot of these pipes they'll bond on with a little bit of corrosion, which is no problem, they'll still come off. That's loose, that's nice, but that is bonded on. I'm just trying to break that bond. It's a big Bond. James Bond. It's a terrible impression. It wasn't really an impression, really, it was an insult. Right, here we go. Yes, come on then. Come on. Come on. Must be great being up there, not being able to see a thing. It's going. Eventually it will go. We won't have a choice. So do the clip a bit more, I think. It is loose and it is rotating, but sometimes it's best to get the clip. See, round a bit. A lot of time you can just pinch these with your fingers, but there's always one that won't go. No, it can't even get in there. Right, I'm going to go and fetch some pliers. All the way out of the way. And then at least you know that's not causing any compression or anything like that. On the pipe, see, it has, I've just moved it up and it's gone tight again. There we go. Lovely. Let's give me a bit more wiggle room. Also, if you can run a pick up the inside of the hose, like that shape, it does, you can see the alloy corrosion that's brought out the pipe. It just breaks the bond a bit, makes it a bit easier. I mean, I've even seen rubber pipes where it's left rubber behind because the rubber's been that old. Hopefully we shan't have that problem. So far, it ain't moving. I am being a bit gentle with it though, and that's probably not what it needs. It probably needs to be gorillaed a little bit. Sometimes you can't feel what you're doing with gloves. coils. Nice. So it's a little bit more done, at least, but as you can see, the engine block is filthy and require a very good degreasing. The paint on a lot of it, like the bottom casings and stuff, is actually quite good when you get under it. So probably the best thing to do is degrease it. When it's stripped, we'll degrease it and we'll just see what the state of play is. But definitely the front of the cylinder heads and stuff, they all want redoing. They want repainting. And we'll just have to take it from there. That's all we can do, really. Nice. So I've got a bit more done. Like I say, this is a slow project. There is no rush, which is good. But you can see, look, where the corrosion is. It looks far worse than what it is. In fact, a good blast will probably get rid of 99% of it, and then it'll be good for repainting. But as usual, when it's a bit dirty, grimy, and it gets all this on it, you think the worst. The worst bit is the front of the engine cradle, and if we're successful in getting that off without damaging it, then perhaps I can get someone to weld me a new bit of tube in the middle, because that's the most highly corroded part of the frame. The rest of it is usually, it's where the rear wheel chucks everything up under the under tray, and of course the water sits, or the condensation sits, and it just, as soon as it's through the paint, which it rubs through in a matter of weeks, it starts corroding. So dirty hands. So I might go and have some breakfast now, but I might I don't know whether I'll come back and do a little bit more, or whether I'll just call it a day for now. As long as I do, you know, something on it regularly, then I'm happy. But the next goal is obviously I'm going to get it on the bike lift, so nibbler will have to be moved out, the bike lift put down, this put on the bike lift, and nibbler brought back in again. And you know, because it's like going to rain all day today, I'm not going to do that today. So I think that will do for this update. So thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. This should be uploaded on Saturday. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll crack on. Hopefully get in touch with Uncle Steve soon and just see if he'll have a look at Rosie's, just see what a rough cost is going to be. But I'm going to have the battery out and recharge it again, which if it's dry tomorrow, I'll do tomorrow. Then so we can get hold of Uncle Steve next week. He'll probably watch this anyway, so he'll probably comment. Then we'll bring cake. So we'll see. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Thanks very much. Bye bye. Bonus footage. I decided that we got this far, I was going to take the top cam cover off and just have a look. And to be honest, knowing sort of the service history of the bike since I've known Kat, I was expecting to see it in a lot worse condition. I was expecting to see a lot of oil varnishing, perhaps a bit of sludge, and I'm really pleasantly surprised. I'm also going to show you the Honda cam gear system. This doesn't have a cam chain. It's a cam gear system which they used a lot on VFRs and stuff like that. Basically, you have a series of gears going up from the crank that run the cams, so they're dead easy to time. You don't have to worry about cam chains ever. They're a really good design. And there we go. Here are the cam gears, and there's the actuating gear down there, which spins off another gear lower down. But as you can see, look, literally next to no sludge or oil varnishing. It's actually really good. So yeah, super happy with that. And this rocker, that rocker, even inside the rocker, look, clean as a whistle. Really clean. Gaskets are in good order. Around these half moons, you always put a little bit of silicone, just a dab of silicone, just in here, because if they are going to weep anywhere, it's going to be there. And these are fairly sharp edges on here as well, so you have to be careful reassembling. But no, I am really happy with that. It is it's a piece of piss to get the cams out and stuff on these as well, and they're really easy to time. And look how tiny the cam loops are. Look, there's my little fat finger. The ones on the GS were about twice the size of this. What a fantastic bit of engineering. And if we look on it, I don't know whether the light will be good enough. Absolutely nowhere at all. Literally nowhere. Be interesting to perhaps get a cam cap off and see what the journals are like. But there is absolutely nowhere on those at all. Which, considering, I mean, it hasn't done a massive amount of miles anyway, but I'm really happy with that. I might just pop a plug out and just see what the state of the plug is, because that gives us a good reference what each bank's doing, how that's firing, whether it's lean, whether it's rich, whether it's spot on, and we're looking for a nice sandy tan colour. Nice. So we'll switch off, and I think I might just pop a pluggage out. Focus, you fuck. So this is out of number 1 cylinder. You see how tiny the threads are. Fully enough, same sized hex as the plugs in Nibbler. So Nibbler's spark plug socket worked perfectly, and it's typical Japanese micro plug basically. I believe the ones on my VFR are actually smaller than this, but yeah, as you can see, it's running rich on cylinder 1, which out of all the conditions you want, you know, lean, rich, too hot, too cold, it's preferable, because running rich doesn't do masses of damage. Running lean, you can hold a piston. So yeah, well, that's cylinder 1, cylinder 2, and it's the same. So I'll go ahead and I'll get 3 and 4 out, but yeah, if they're all slightly rich, that's not too bad. I'm pretty sure I did replace the spark plugs on them, but when she goes all back together, she'll have new plugs and a full service anyway. And now's a great time to check valve clearances as well, while it's like this. But as you can do, I mean, this does need repainting, that needs refinishing, and if I'm honest, the best way to do it is to either split it to empty cases and take it to the blasters. I've got one down the road. He's not expensive. He really isn't expensive. He's called Bike Aqua Blasting. If you want to look at him, look him up on Facebook. And some of the work he does, because he does car stuff as well. And some of the work, you'd look at it, it's like when you look at polishing that Harry Overton does at Brightworks. He's another one to check out. It's like he'll put a before picture up and you think, God, I would have scrapped that, I would have renewed it, you know, I wouldn't have bothered. And then the after pictures are just, they're unbelievable. They're really unbelievable, far beyond my capabilities, far beyond. I'm not very good at finishing, you know, paint finishing, polishing or anything like that. Just basically it's patience. I haven't got the patience for it. I don't mind taking stuff apart, I don't mind putting it together, but finishing it, no, it ain't my bag. I just haven't got that knack. I never have had it. So yeah, so all told, so far I'm really happy with the internals on this, really happy. And the great thing about there not being any cam chain or anything like that, it's a really easy engine to strip down. They're really easy, even down to the crankcases, and get the crank out and all that lot, because you're not mucking around with timing chains. You know, you're not got any fears of tensioners going bad or anything like that. It's just as long as all those gears are slotted in the correct manner, mainly the cams, because the gear on the crank doesn't matter what position that is, the gear above it doesn't matter what position that is, and I think there's possibly another one above that, doesn't matter what position that is, because that's just a rotating thing. The critical thing is the cam timing, and as long as you've got those marks correct, with the mark on the Jenny cover or the ignition cover, you're laughing. They're really easy, really easy. But I didn't struggle with the GS timing and stuff like that either. As soon as I'd worked it out and counted the correct number of pins and stuff like that, it was alright. And yes, I did take it apart and double check it, because I wasn't sure in my head, but I had got it right. So it's yeah, once again, I'm really
really happy with the state of that. That is actually far better than what I thought. But on the converse side of it, she's not done a lot of miles anyway, so you know, horses for courses. But yeah, good news everybody.